Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I want to talk about the Supernote. It has been probably over a year since I've actually made a video about it, and I thought it was probably a good time just to give an update and show that I still have it, still love it, still recommend it. I'm actually surprised myself, to be honest, because I generally cycle through electronics and these kind of toys, frequently. It's pretty rare that I keep something for nearly 2 years. Actually, it's never happened. My cell phones, my tablets, fitness watches, you name it. I mean, I tend to cycle them out, within a year, if not sooner. So I think the fact that I've had this now 2 years later, I think kind of reinforces my love for this device. So real great device. Still part of my just everyday use. I use this for personal, for work. It's a true paper replacement. Clears up clutter, lets me kind of jot things down on the fly, lets me doodle. I'm one that kind of likes to doodle, especially if I'm in a boring work meeting. I can kind of just play around with it without jeopardizing the rest of my paper. So just want to kind of talk about some of the more recent updates. I mean, Supernote has been really updating the crap out of this thing. I mean, it's a completely different device than it was to begin with. And to be honest, it's actually kind of becoming a little, I want to say too much, but they're adding so many more features that what was a kind of a simple device to kind of pick up and get going now is a little bit more feature rich, that you're going to have a little bit of a learning curve to kind of get to use it, which is, I guess, not a bad thing. But yeah, something that just to keep in mind. But a couple quick recent updates that they've added, which I'm a huge fan of. One is headings. So makes searching for notes easier. I've done a video kind of how I organize my notes in the past, and I've actually not recently, but since then I've switched jobs, which kind of allowed me to kind of do a fresh restart, because the other time when I first got this, I kind of went out of control with workbooks, and it became just a little bit headachy trying to navigate through it. What fixed it was a update about a year ago, improved the speed, that made it better. But I started a new job about 10 months ago, which allowed me to kind of do a fresh restart. So I was able to delete all the other workbooks and kind of just have a start fresh, and trying to kind of work with only one predominantly notes book, one for notes, one for to-do list. And these headings are making it even easier, because now you can actually put a heading for whatever the meeting was and keep it, at least I keep it, in one document versus having multiple ones. And then you can search for this, and you can then also create hyperlinks, which is actually another really cool feature that I wish I had a while ago, because then you can link kind of note pages together. So for example, let's just say you took notes on a project and you had a separate, last week you took notes on a separate project in a separate notebook, so we'll call this separate notes. You can then come back and link it to here. So then if you wanted to, 2 weeks later you have a meeting, but you still want to have reference to that, you can create, a reference link, and then you can go ahead and create a hyperlink to that notebook, if that makes sense. So then you can quickly retrieve it without having to kind of look all around for it. So the ability to do hyperlinks, pretty cool feature. That's one good thing. So heading, hyperlinks, and then the other cool thing they added is that, as you know, I tend to use my Samsung pen because of the button. And anytime you wanted to use the button, you had to hold it the entire time. So now you can just press it once to activate the feature. Oh, hang on, I'm still in select mode. Let me go back to pen mode. Now you can just activate it once and let go. So before you had to hold it throughout the entire circle. Now you can just start, let go, and it'll finish it for you. So pretty cool feature to add for the button here. The other thing is that, I've often complained about this being a little difficult for lefties, me being a lefty. And a couple things I'm kind of used to is that, they added a feature where you can move this toolbar to any side you want. And actually now it makes it so much easier, because with this hand, I can quickly kind of switch between, different things while I'm still kind of working. So I don't have to kind of, keep reaching across to change things. I can be, writing notes. And if I quickly wanted to switch to something else, the eraser, if I wanted to switch to marker, I can kind of keep doing it, without having to ever kind of stop. So I kind of liken this kind of two-handed setup now that I've gotten used to, by quickly being able to kind of pick with this hand, almost kind of with my thumb. You can also, now this toolbar you can move, but what's cool is that this thing is permanently here. So now the same thing is, if I'm working here, I don't have to, kind of reach across. So I've kind of grown to love it as a lefty. The other quick trick for all lefties is, what I found too, is that, there's about a 1/4 of an inch drop that kind of makes it a little bit uncomfortable for your hand to hang out the end. So what I've done actually is, if you put a pen or a pencil or something kind of behind here and drop it, it kind of elevates the case, which gives you a pretty, I think a pencil works better, because it's got the ridges. That's what I used before. There we go. So, and now you have much more comfortable writing experience, because now your hand's not like kind of on this cliff falling off. Now you kind of have a very kind of smooth surface to rest your hand on, which makes writing more comfy. So this is something I do now when I have room. If I'm taking notes, I'll always put a pencil here, put this like this, and now you have left hand support, even writing at the edge here, where before it's kind of, you had to kind of hold it up. So for your lefties here, this is one perk of being a lefties, because if you're a righty, you don't have the cover on this side. So for once, a win for the lefties. So if you haven't tried it, give it a shot. I'm pretty confident you'll enjoy the writing experience much better by having it like this. I almost wish that, I don't know, there was a way to kind of like permanently like attach it to the cover, like right here. I mean, don't get me wrong, the idea of gluing it has come across my mind, to be honest, because you can still open it, but if it would be stuck like that permanently, it would give you really a nice surface to write on. But the pencil trick's been actually working just fine, so I kind of held off gluing and making it permanent. But yeah, those are kind of a couple of quick updates here. It's still a great device. If you're on the fence, I know it's kind of expensive, but if you're a note taker and if you have pen and paper everywhere, this is going to really simplify your life to a degree by eliminating the clutter and making it much easier to find your notes and just kind of stay organized. Like I said, I have 2 programming notebooks. I have my work to do, kind of where I like to doodle and draw. So that's what I mean, is that you can get creative and draw stuff with this thing. And then I have my personal notes, where I'll write things down for myself, phone numbers, things I want to kind of come back to. So as you can see, I kind of simplified things drastically now to how many notebooks I keep versus how many I had before. So I think some of the updates are making it easier, but yeah, that's kind of just a quick update here. The one thing I'm not really liking is I set it up as a handwriting recognition, and I don't know if I like it. Let's see if it works. Let's see, Salesforce. Yeah, see, so it does work. So it's kind of cool. I just wish I can write it out, because typing in this thing's a little difficult. But type it in and boom, takes me right back to my Salesforce team meeting. So pretty cool features. It's getting even more intuitive than it once was. But like I said, for me, just the simplicity of having kind of a notebook on your desk, you open it when it's ready to go, and the battery, I mean, I charge this thing once a week. You know, it charges it within like, I don't know, 2 hours maybe. But usually I can get through usually a whole week. I mean, sometimes I'll just charge it, you know, just proactively if it's possible, but I've never had an issue with battery. And yeah, that's kind of the 2-year follow-up on this thing, is that it's still a great tablet. Can't say enough good things about it. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. But you know, this was kind of just a on the cuff video, just because I just thought, you know what, I haven't talked about this thing in a while, and I logged on today, so there was an update. I'm like, oh, all right, maybe a good time to push out a quick update on how I'm doing with it. So if you have any questions, let me know. I think people keep asking about this pen. It is a Samsung Tab S7 pen, but I think it's identical to a Tab S8. They both work. I did a video about some of the pens I have, and all the Samsung pens work, even the phone pens. Microsoft one did not work. So, you know, I'm a little torn on it, because I think the writing experience is much nicer with, you know, the called the stock pen. You know, I think this one writes a lot nicer, but I just like this quick shortcut to erase. Although, again, it is, you know, with a 2-finger, it's not that hard to erase either. But so I don't know. I go back and forth, to be honest. If I take this on the go, I always bring this pen because it clips in there. But I often just have this pen docked over here. You know, it's usually just sitting on top of my desk. If I can show, yeah, there it is. So usually I have it top of my desk, so it's quickly easy to grab. It's there, so I kind of go to it by default. But this pen, the writing experience is a little nicer because the tip is just a little bit finer. All right, well, that's it. Longer than I intended to be, but thanks for tuning in, and I will catch you on the next one.